Now that we know how simple sentences work, let's look at adverbial phrases. Now, naturally, an adverb acts as a way to add more information to the verb, which in this sentence is sat. Often an adverb will tell you when, where, or how the verb occurred. So for instance, we might say that before eating, the girl sat on the floor. Now that sentence makes sense. Before eating, the girl sat on the floor. We have a capital letter at the start and a full stop at the end. But what we have here is we still have this capital letter at the start of where the sentence was before. So what we might want to do is, instead of doing it this way, we could put in before eating, the girl sat on the floor. Now there might be people that get confused and they hear before eating the girl and they might think your sentence is about some sort of troll or monster. So the best thing you can do is, in between the adverbial phrase, which is before eating, you place a comma and it separates it from the noun and no one gets confused. Before eating, pause, the girl sat on the floor. Now that is an instance of an adverbial phrase telling you when something has occurred. You can try other variations, such as where. So in this case, at school, the girl sat on the floor. That one's not as confusing, but it's best practice to remember to put your comma in. At school, the girl sat on the floor. So the simple sentence is the girl sat on the floor. We're adding more information to the verb and we're saying where did she sit? At school. The last one that we can look at is perhaps how. Now, how can often be quite descriptive in the way that the verb works. With a loud bump, the girl sat on the floor. And again, you're seeing that comma, we place it in, and sometimes we catch it late in the editing stage, and that's okay. With a loud bump, the girl sat on the floor. We have our simple sentence, we take our adverbial phrase, and we add it to the start. And by doing so, you show us that you know how to change sentence structure, and you know how to edit and move your capital letters, and you know how to create a sentence that gives the reader more information with which to build an image in their head. Testing this out with a different sentence, here we have the princess rescued the dragon. We know that the verb in this sentence is rescued, that is the doing word. So we are going to add an adverbial phrase at the start of the sentence to show that we can truly control the flow. We can look at when the princess did this if we like, by putting in after lunch, the princess rescued the dragon. Now remembering, you could always do the princess rescued the dragon after lunch and add it at the end, but putting that adverbial phrase at the start shows a lot more control. So that's an adverbial phrase for when. We might want to think about where the princess did this. So we might say, atop a mountain, the princess rescued the dragon. Thinking about that sentence now, it's much more improved in that it gives more detail to the reader or the listener, and it tells us where, and of course, don't forget to separate your adverbial phrase at the start with a comma. Atop a mountain, the princess rescued the dragon. And we can look at one last one, which is how. How did the princess do this? Well, let's give the reader something interesting to read. Let's try and make it a bit more awesome or specific, and we will say, casting a spell, comma, the princess rescued the dragon. Now, if you have the sentence, the princess rescued a dragon, you have no idea how it happened. But if you think about casting a spell, the princess rescued the dragon, you can conjure up all sorts of insane imagery and delightful narratives to your brain. So that is why we put adverbial phrases at the start of sentences. We hope that helps you with analyzing sentences, writing your own sentences, and more importantly, editing them to show you that you can add a little bit of something right at the start to make your sentences more awesome. Happy writing, everybody.